Amatsu, the Storm Dragon, the Looming Calamity, and one of the most powerful Elder Dragons in Monster Hunter, and one of my personal favorites. Amatsu, which is the shortened version of its Japanese name which literally translates to Heavenly God of Calamity, was first introduced in Monster Hunter Polar Third as the game's final boss. And I don't think there's any better way for me to introduce the monster than reading its description from Sunbreak. Elder dragons that can manipulate the weather and are able to conjure up unrelenting gales. Amatsu glide through the air on currents they create using their wing membranes, making it look as if they are dancing in the sky. The storms they summon are extremely destructive and can lay entire cities to waste. Thus, they are known as the Looming Calamity. When enraged, their storms become even more violent, enveloping the area in unrelenting lightning strikes. Amatsu has appeared in 6 months in the game so far. Like I said before, Amatsu first appeared in Monster Hunter Polar Third in late 2010, where he appeared as the final boss of said game. Amatsu wouldn't be seen again for another 5 years until it appeared in the card game Monster Disputes in 2015. Well, we also got to see what a baby Amatsu looked like. Only a few months later, Amatsu came back in Generations and later Generations Ultimate. Monster Hunter Frontier Z then released in November 2016 and introduced Exotic Amatsu. And some of the Exotic Amatsu's attacks will be implemented into Amatsu in Monster Hunter Online, which released December of 2016. So, wow, 2015 to 2016 was a crazy time for Amatsu. Amatsu would make another appearance in the Universal Japan Studios Monster Hunter Generations promo ride, but wouldn't make a brand new appearance in the game until April of 2023 in Sunbreak's 5th title update, where he also got a massive rework. Amatsu are one of the many Elder Dragons that are closely related to the non-Elder Dragons, such as Kushala. In this case, Amatsu is a Leviathan, as you can tell by its body. Amatsu's body are covered in many large white fins that give it the ability to fly through the air as if it were water. The fins are pure white and almost look like a white silk dress. These fins are reflected in Amatsu's armor, which almost have an angelly aesthetic. As the fight goes on, the Amatsu's fins will also change color, going from pure white with slight yellow tints to having red tints all over. Along with the fins, Amatsu have 2 giant golden horns. The golden horns not only add to the heavenly design motif, but also imply that Amatsu are territorial and probably even choose mates based on the quality of the horn, similar to many real-life animals. The Amatsu also has 2 giant whiskers on its relatively small head. These whiskers probably have little use now, but are probably more useful when Amatsu were supposedly in a fully aquatic Elder Dragon for detecting prey items. It's not 100% certain if ancient Amatsu were once fully aquatic, but it seems fairly likely. Finally, Amatsu have an organ known as the Storm Vessel, located deep in their chest. This organ has the mysterious property to allow the Amatsu to control the storms. The intensity of the storm is affected by the Amatsu's mood, as when the Amatsu enrages, the storm becomes far more intense, and when the Amatsu perishes, the organ loses all control of the weather and the sky returns to normal. How the organ does this isn't known, but the storms themselves are vital for Amatsu's life. Amatsu are only able to fly because of the storm's wind picking it up, and also Amatsu can only fly because of the storm's wind picking it up. Amatsu can only fly because of the storm's wind picking it up, and also allows Amatsu to warn others of their appearance. The large storms act as a warning signal for other monsters to leave the area unless they want to face the Amatsu's fury, which is what also caused the Zenouga to attack Yukumo. The threat of the recently reawoken Amatsu forced all of the Zenouga who normally live in high up mountainous regions to move further down the mountain to avoid his wrath. Very few monsters are known to contest the Amatsu, one of them I guess being Valstrax, based on this one clip of one I wanted to attack one for whatever reason. From what we know, Amatsu are incredibly territorial, not just based off its design and the horns, but also for the reason it's even a threat to airships specifically. Similar to how Jen and Darren Moran are attacking the sand ships just because they mistake them for being another Moran who's competing on their territory, Amatsus have been known to attack airships and other aerial monsters due to confusing them with other competing Amatsu. There are 3 known regional variants of the Amatsu. Up until now, I've been mostly talking about the Euphemonian Amatsu, which was the first one discovered. This version is found in Monster Hunter Pulver 3rd and Generations, and they live in the Sacred Pinnacle. The second discovered was the Mesopotamian Amatsu. These Amatsus are in Monster Hunter Frontier, and are also seen in the Sacred Pinnacle. These Amatsu have 2 major differences. For one, they have a much larger use of water while defending themselves from threats. But the most significant difference is the hidden dragon element found in them. While all Elder Dragons have some trace of dragon element in them, the Amatsu in the Mesopotamian region are able to use the element to fill up their entire body with the dragon. This causes their fins to glow a deep red, and only this gives their chest and stomach a bright blue light. The dragon element is infused into Amatsu's water and wind-based attacks to make it a much bigger threat. All these extreme changes are because the Amatsu found in Frontier are one of the exotic monsters. The exotic monsters are a group of mainline monsters who were put into Frontier and were given a massive boost in power in order to keep up with Frontier's unique cast at the time. The third discovered regional variant of the Amatsu are those found in the Cameroon region. This Amatsu version is found in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak from the 5th title update of the game. One of these Amatsus destroyed Tsukuda village, which was the previous home of Kagura and Yomogi. The Cameroon Amatsu also have control over the thunder element and can use it while enraged, where the fins will also grow a much darker shade. Cameroon Amatsu also have a far more powerful control over the wind, but are even able to manually launch the hunters into the sky. All 3 Amatsus have fairly similar fights. They all spend the fight slightly floating above the ground, low enough to allow melee hunters to hit the bottom fins. The Amatsu will do a variety of charge attacks, water guns, and tornado generations. One of the most powerful attacks that all 3 Amatsu share is a massive vortex attack where Amatsu will fly in circles at high speeds and suck up all hunters towards itself. And after all the hunters get towards it, Amatsu will generate a massive tornado doing lots of damage. Amatsu will also fly high into the air and fire 3 large water gun shots that will all have aftershock effects. When enraged, Amatsu will generate a wind aura around itself, making it more difficult for hunters to hit it. The Amatsus found in Mesopotamia not only have much larger water-based attacks, but when enraged they are able to infuse dragon into it. They are even able to infuse the dragon element into both the vortex suck-up attack and the 3 water gun shot attack. Cameroon Amatsu, on the other hand, have a thunder element infused into their attacks when enraged. When in its final phase, Cameroon Amatsu are even able to launch the hunters high into the air, where they must wire bug away in order to not allow the Amatsu to hit them with a devastating charge-based attack. The arena that Amatsus are fought in are filled with many ballista that can help you hit it while it's flying. The arenas found in the Cameroon regions also have ballista of silk-bind shots imbued into them that allow you to pin the Amatsu onto the floor for a limited time. Generally, Amatsu's fight has never left that big of an impression on many people. No one really ever talked about the fight online since it wasn't that bad or that good either. However, that all changed when Amatsu appeared in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, where the entire community was in shock by the massive overhaul and improvement the fight had. To this day, I still see many people include Sunbreak Amatsu in the top 10 Monster Hunter fights of all time, including me. Amatsu's Sunbreak fight is the only one in Rise, in my opinion, that fully takes advantage of the wire bug mechanic. The fight also does a fantastic job of showing off the pure power of Amatsu, and does a way better job than the old-gen fights ever could. Amatsu's armor greatly reflects the heavenly and angelic vibe that it has. The armor even has miniature versions of its golden horns. The name of the armor is Tempest, which means violent storm, so you can probably guess where that name comes from. Each of the armor pieces' names even reflect the royal godlike status of Amatsu. The Tempest crown, robe, sleeves, obi, and hakama. And by the way, obi is the name of a band worn around the base of Japanese kimonos, and the hakama is the name of the trousers worn by high-ranking and wealthy Japanese people, and is often worn as a sign of respect. The descriptions of the armor piece also go further in reinforcing their style. The attire of an ancient priest who stilled natural disasters with words alone. This also bleeds into the weapons of the Amatsu. They all have a very royal and heavenly design, I guess I'd call it, with a mix of the pure white and bright gold similar to the Amatsu's color scheme. They all also have names that reflect the power of Amatsu's storms, such as the Amatsu's lance, which is literally just called Ominous Cloud. Amatsu's armor skills have changed drastically throughout all of its appearances. In Monster and the Polar Third, Amatsu's armor gave, and by the way, I'm not 100% sure if these are the correct skills, so forgive me if they're not. But in Monster and the Polar Third, Amatsu's armor gave Unleashed +2, Sharpness +1, and Water Element +1, and Slow Life -1. In Monster and the Generations Ultimate, Amatsu's armor gave Latent Power +2, Evasion +1, and Critical Up +1. Oh boy. The exotic Amatsu from Frontier had Critical Eye +3, Attack Up Large, Speed Sharpening, Adrenaline +2, Guts, Razor Sharp, and HE Earplugs. And finally, the Amatsu from Sunbreak had 5 Evade Window, 4 Critical Boost, 5 Latent Power, and 3 of a unique armor skill called Heaven Sent. Heaven Sent fills up an invisible bar the longer you aren't hit while in combat, and is depleted when hit. The higher the bar is, the less damage you take when hit. Having a higher bar also gives you other effects, such as allowing you to remove status effects when switch skill swapping, decreasing stamina bar depletion, and at higher levels can completely remove all sharpness loss and stamina loss. The Amatsu's weapons, on the other hand, haven't ever been the best. They always have somewhat high attack and sharpness and high water element, but negative affinity, and are almost always overshadowed by way better weapons and even way better water weapons. Amatsu is a monster that holds a very special place in my heart. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm 99% sure that I learned about Monster Hunter through a re-upload of the 10th anniversary video, and I remember clearly that the thumbnail was a frame of Amatsu in the video, which means that Amatsu may have been the very first Monster Hunter monster I'd ever seen, so I don't think there was really any other better monster to start off this little series, but that's about all there is to say about Amatsu. Thanks for watching, if you did for whatever reason.